Bochi the Rock, Heavenly Delusion, Kisumonogatari film, Haiku Season 1, Flying Witch, Ishura, 91 Days, Odd Taxi, Horimiya, Mononoke, Hamatora the Animation, Tokyo Godfathers.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast, with your hosts, Connor O'Neill and Matthew Hughes.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Nerdy Misfit Podcast.
Hello. How you doing, Connor?
Pretty good. We're into 2025. You would have watched our New Year's episode 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's man, we're already like halfway through January.
Which is insane.
That's
Like, this year's already flying
What
by.
is time?
Man-made construct, man. Man-made construct.
And yeah, so pretty simple episode, I would say, for us. We're gonna do a tier list of our anime of the month. If you're new around here,
2024.
from 2024. If you're new around here, 2024, we started a new series, which is Anime of the Month. We basically pick a series, we watch it, and the last episode of the month, we discuss it, give it a ranking, and then if we recommend it, etc. And Matt thought it'd be a cool idea to rank the current 12 that we did for last year. And I was like, yep, that's a good idea. Because then we can compare this to, does this year have better anime?
Yeah,
we
just
watch
have
better
better or worse, etc. Yeah.
We'll also have Troy and Eddie from Nerdy Misfit Gaming. If you,
Oh, true. They'd be able to join in on this episode next
If you
year,
like gaming content, go check that out.
Go check them out.
It'll be in our link tree down below. But yeah, so we won't be super spoiler based for this one. So
No, we'll do our best not to spoil it too much.
So if you haven't seen the series, you don't have to fret, because maybe you'll find some new recommendations to check out, and then you can comment below and let us know what you thought of those series when you come back.
So without further ado, I'm going to just list off all 12 animes we watched in 2024 in order from January to December. We started with Bochi the Rock. Then we watched Heavenly Delusion, also known as Tengoku Daimoku. Kisumonogatari films, all three. Haiku, Season 1. Flying Witch, Ishura, 91 Days, Odd Taxi, Horimiya, Mononoke, Hamatora the Animation, and last but not least, Tokyo Godfathers.
Nice.
Which is crazy. When I was making this prep sheet, I was like, man, we actually watch a lot of like different. I know that was the plan.
Yeah, no,
obviously,
that was totally. I think that was the goal, was to get both of us out of our usual
comforty zone.
Yeah, for sure. And I think some of them definitely were.
I agree with that for sure.
One of which, apparently, to your Crunchyroll rap or whatever the Crunchyroll thing was, music. Watched one music anime all year.
One music anime in it.
Yeah, I don't think that those were quite.
Yeah, I was so disappointed, man.
I don't think those were quite accurate.
They really weren't.
But yeah, without further ado, I guess we'll pull up the tier list and we'll get going.
Boom. All right. So let's start with anime we watched in January, Bochi the Rock. Bochi Rock, currently on my anime list, sits at an 8.76 out of 10 with 392,685 users. Reviewed it, gave it that score, all-encompassing. It was a comedy, music-style anime. It was only 12 episodes. And obviously, it's been a year since we watched this.
Yeah, I guess we should preface this by saying this isn't going to just go in order of what we ranked the highest.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like our criteria, it's not in concrete, because I'm sure we'll probably end up breaking it for certain series. But I'd say we're obviously going to take into consideration what we ranked it. I'm going to say watchability.
Yeah.
I'm going to say how much we enjoyed it. Because some of them are good, but they're not necessarily like, oh, I'd go back and watch that again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I enjoyed it so much. And also something that's easily recommended to someone. Like, would we actually recommend someone watch it? Maybe for noob, or potentially for maybe one of them, we'll get to it. Maybe if you're more experienced and you haven't seen it,
give it a watch.
It'll be more fitting.
Yeah, I think also, too, something to keep in mind is, like, obviously, we're not necessarily comparing these 12 with one another, but I feel like that will definitely play a little bit a part in it.
Definitely be part of it.
So, Bochi the Rock.
It's so tough because I feel like this is an S.
I just don't want to throw it out to an S right off the bat, right?
That's exactly my thought. So, this is my thought process. 1, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
2, short. Like, I know that there's definitely more story that could end up coming out.
Mm-hmm.
But for the 12 episodes, it's not like you're left on a huge cliffhanger or anything. Like
Yeah.
the 12 episodes does encompass a good story.
Yep.
And it's
I think as an introductory anime, I think it's good too, especially if you're looking for a anime that is not musical, but like music based, slice of life right off the bat. I think this includes that, encompasses it
it's
perfectly.
very
fine.
relatable.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would
'Cause-
put it for S tier.
Yeah,
I
even
know.
if you don't have anxiety or social issue, like any like social you know, issues in terms of wanting to, you know, just wanting to be by yourself or just can't really,
Yeah.
you know, you're very introverted, let's say.
Mhm.
I think everyone can relate to this in some way, shape, or form. It's fun. The characters are good. So we're gonna put it as maybe it'll get knocked down,
I don't know.
but I doubt it.
And if you're interested in watching Butcher the Rock, it is on Crunchyroll, I believe. So
I believe so.
we'll do our best to kind of recommend if you want to watch these where we can find them. Mostly,
Yeah.
a couple of them maybe. But yeah,
That's also gonna be based on Canada.
we're also based in Canada for the record. If you didn't know that
So-
already. But yeah, Butcher the Rock. I think S tier is a good spot to put it for now. Moving into February, we watched something called Heavenly Delusion, also known as Tengoku Daimaku. I don't know. It is sitting at an 8.21 out of 10 based on 248,282 users on my anime list. It's mystery, sci-fi, seinen? Seinen? Yeah. 13 episodes. I remember watching this one and just
It was enjoyable.
it was super enjoyable, very
Because-
confusing,
Yeah, it's got a
But-
lot of mystery elements to it that kind of.
but so sci-fi based, which was super neat to see mystery and sci-fi mixed together.
I think some parts were a bit confusing, or like you do have to really pay attention and
Yeah.
follow it, or you're gonna get lost real quick.
Yeah, I think it's also one where you're going to be constantly asking questions, which is in a good way. Like you're not like, you're not asking questions of like, oh, does this make sense? Does this not make sense? It's more or less, okay, so how does this make sense?
Yeah,
Animation was well done from
Yep.
what I can remember. Characters were fun to get to know, experience, like, and see the growth throughout for them. Do we put it as A?
I'm thinking
Or like a B?
mostly due to the story's nowhere near wrapped up. We don't have a second season.
That is true. Or when season 2
or
is
when
even coming out,
when there will
I
ever be
believe.
a season 2 because I'm pretty sure this went very close to where the manga was, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
And although I do find the story interesting, it's hard to say, oh yeah, go watch that, because it's not even close to a completed story,
No.
right? Like there is still so many.
No, I would
Things that are
love to
left
get a
open.
season 2 for this.
It also does have a bit of I guess, you know, I don't want to say like viewer discretion, but there are definitely some scenes that are
Yeah,
can be considered traumatizing for people.
Agreed.
So it's a bit.
I wouldn't recommend this as a starter anime in any regard.
It's got some tough content it also covers.
does,
So
yeah.
I would say B, but if you're okay with waiting,
Yeah, B is. I'm confident with B.
or you are, you know, you've watched a bunch of stuff and you want to catch up on maybe some seasons that happened in the past couple years,
Give it a watch.
then this is a good one to
Yeah.
to go on.
Disney Plus, I believe, is what it's on
Disney Plus,
in
yep.
Canada. And now moving on to March, which was a big one for us. We did 3 movies.
This one's gonna be tougher to rank because we're gonna consider the movies all as one entry because we watch them as our anime of the month, even though it's technically 3 anime.
All 3 are mystery, supernatural, and vampire.
They also cover one book,
They do, yeah.
so,
So that's
it
what
covers
is
the
why,
whole
yeah.
story.
It's not like going through different volumes throughout different seasons. This was one light novel.
That was broken up into 3 separate movies.
Yeah. Connecting to the Monogatari series as a whole, which, if you can see behind me, it is right here.
Yeah, I don't know if they can see that. No, they can. You're right.
Yeah, right there. Obviously, we're a lot smaller, but yeah, that's the book that was adapted in 3 movies. Anyways, I'll go through the quick numbers for all 3 movies.
Sure.
Because it's very interesting to me because less people viewed the second movie out of everything.
Well, I think some of this is also, I can't remember. I could be stand corrected. I mean, feel free to comment below and correct me if I'm wrong. But I think the users is based off of people who even have stuff in plan to watch.
Hmm.
Not necessarily completed
That
or
makes
watching.
sense. Okay.
or even dropped for that matter. So I think that there's a chance that the reason that is because maybe some people just saw that Kizumonogatari has another one, they just added it to there, but they forgot to add 2.
That makes sense, yeah. Because Kizumonogatari number 1 is 8.36 out of 10 at 295,574 users. Number 2 is an 8.56 out of 10 with 280,066. So we dropped about 15,000. And then Kizumonogatari 3 is 8.78 out of 10, the highest of the 3, sitting at 382,000.
I kind of agree with the way this, and it almost follows that what you'd expect in a story because
progressively gets better.
Yeah, it's progressively getting better, and 3 is the climax, and it is pretty crazy. So I kind of agree with the way it's steadily going up, and there's the reason that I'm sure the other ones are also lower is I'm sure a lot of people who are watching the first one who don't enjoy it aren't watching the second and third, because the first one definitely is very artistic.
Yes.
It's very unique in the way that Shaft is deciding to tell the story.
Yep.
There's usage of real imagery, lots of
different.
Like stills and poses, and it's definitely very different, and it's definitely not for everyone.
No. Again, don't recommend this as like a first watch
Oh,
of anime movies in the slightest.
not.
Definitely once you got a good amount under your belt. And
I don't even know if I would recommend this as the first Monogatari. I know, like, from a timeline perspective,
it's
sure,
the first one.
but I don't think I would start with this as the first as your first try into the Monogatari series. Even I would say probably start with Bakemonogatari, which was actually the first anime Shaft did for the Monogatari series. I would start with like release order.
Okay.
In my opinion,
Yeah,
I feel like
I've only seen this part of the
and
Monogatari
there's still Shaft
series,
is very Shaft, a very artsy fartsy throughout the Monogatari series, but this was like it was like amped up.
Yeah, I mean that's the movie versus TV, right? Like obviously they have a
different styles
budget.
too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like art styles as well.
So would you put this at B as well?
Yeah, I would say B. I think very cool story, very like.
I enjoyed
it's inspired
reading it.
a lot of other concepts, or like a lot of anime and manga like to take away certain things from the Monogatari series. So I think it's kind of cemented its hold in the community for the better, if you will. But yeah, it's different. It's different.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's not for everybody, but the people who love it, they love it.
It's true. And also, fun fact: Kizumonogatari 3 of all the animes we watched over the year of 2024, it has the highest rating of everything we've watched.
Interesting.
Fact. There's ones that are like close to it, but yeah, Kizumonogatari 3 comes in the highest at 8.78.
And that's beating out Bocchi the Rock by literally like 0.02.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It goes Kizumonogatari 3, Bocchi the Rock, and then I think Odd Taxi.
We have watched some good stuff.
Yeah. Interesting. But anyways, moving on to April, which has the highest user count for us.
Yeah, it's probably the most popular thing that we've watched.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Which is Haiku Season 1, sitting at 8.44 out of 10, at 1,278,873 users. Either has it in their list somehow. It's shonen, sports, school, 25 episodes. The longest anime we watched as well for 2024.
Was that 24 or 25 eps?
25 eps.
25. Yeah, so we only watched season 1, but if you've seen our Haikyuu episode, you know that I actually watched all of that was out of Haikyuu at that point in the month.
Spammed through it.
So for me, it's an easy S, and that goes for a few reasons. One, I think it's just a really incredible anime with some amazing characters. Two,
the animation's great.
Fantastic sports anime if you're not into sports anime to try. I'm currently watching Slam Dunk, which obviously a lot of people would hold up as the epitome of sports manga and sports anime for story. And obviously Haikyuu heavily inspired by Slam Dunk. You can tell in a lot of the storytelling. But I'll say Haikyuu is a lot more digestible.
Yeah.
And it's just very easy to follow. Volleyball, actually, for the most part, not that complicated of a sport.
No.
So as they explain the sport through you watching it, you're already kind of invested and understand it pretty quickly. characters carry this story specifically very well. And I think that that's the difference between bad and good sports anime is you can only do so much with, oh, we won, yay, or oh, we lost, we have to work harder next time. You can only do so much with that. Like, there's a good chance that probably in a sports anime the main team or character will eventually pull through and get the win. And there's also going to be those hard defeats that kind of catch you off guard.
Yeah.
But if you don't have engaging characters that you're very
It falls
interested
flat.
you're going to get bored of that very quickly.
I think the show definitely does a good range of having your two to three main characters and then having your rest of your supporting cast, but you caring equally about them.
Yeah. And the other thing is there's so much of it.
Yeah.
Right? So if you, unlike some of the other series, like we just mentioned with Heavenly Delusion being just that one season and so much, for Haikyuu, we're waiting for one movie.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it's done.
Crazy.
And I'm pretty sure that movie's supposed to come out this year.
I do believe
But
so, yeah.
there's also a lot to catch up. So if you're watch it at a reasonable pace, maybe the movie will be out by the time you're caught up. And
That's true.
I know that some people they're itching for that, like, oh, what's something I can watch for a while?
Haiku.
And it's great.
It's a good length.
So I'm okay with putting it in S.
Yeah, we can put it S tier for now.
And similar to Bocchi the Rock, it's a different genre, and it's a good, like, it's very good.
And it's easily digestible.
It may be tough to compare other sports because you're gonna be like, wow, it's not Haikyuu, which is unfair. This is kind of almost like recommending like FMA or another great series as you should watch this as your first anime. But if you want to try and get your friends into sports anime, this is definitely a good one to do it with.
That is true. Moving on to May. This was an anime I believe Gray recommended to us.
I enjoyed this way more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, I would agree with that for both of us.
Like,
I had no expectation going in.
super just chill, but like fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Flying Witch.
Flying Witch, sitting at 7.5 out of 10 at 110,014 users. It's fantasy, shonen, slice of life. I thought it was fun. I thought it was enjoyable. You had easy characters that were relatable. I think for like, I don't want to say the magical girl genre of anime,
Yeah.
but this kind of fits into that a bit.
Yeah.
It's no like Little Witch Academia.
No.
But this
And
one I feel like
had
is
good
a
art
good
style too. Like a very like different, but like nice on the eyes.
Nothing too painful or anything like that. For me, I'd probably slide this into like.
The only reason I'm tempted to say B is due to there being a lot more story.
Yeah.
It's another thing. And this came out. Do you have when it came out? Probably not.
No, I don't. But give me 1 second. I can.
Yeah, because I think based on when it came out, I don't see there being another season. And there's so much story left.
Yeah, spring 2016. So about 9 years ago.
So that's the
That
only
is
thing
so sad.
that kind of brings down the recommending, because it always feels bad to recommend something that you're like, okay, go read the manga now when you catch up.
Yeah,
So that's the only thing that brings it down for me to a B.
that is very sad.
It's a big hit.
It is a big hit. I'm kind of surprised it never got a season 2.
There's a lot.
There's
There's
a lot.
so many shows that definitely deserve a season 2, and their manga is definitely popular, and the show's popular enough to warrant a season 2.
Well, it's funny because there's certain ones that we wish had season 2, and then there's certain anime that we wish season 2 never happened.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
that's always
definitely.
how it is, right?
So
we throw in Flying Witch in B.
I think B is good.
It's like a B plus to me. You know, it's not quite an A, but
I
it's
agree.
up there. You know. And now, moving into June with the lowest rated anime from my anime list and the lowest amount of users.
Might be our first D, to be honest.
I don't know. There's one that I would put lower than this one.
Well, it doesn't mean that they
But
both don't belong in D.
I know. Which is Ashura, sitting at 6.65 out of 10 with just under 31,000 users. So 30,909 users. 12 episodes. It's action, adventure, fantasy, isekai. Now, season 2's coming out in spring, I think,
Sure.
or winter. You won't watch it.
No,
You have no interest.
absolutely not.
I might give it an episode or two. I rated this very low for my personal anime list because I think it could have been so much better.
Sure.
I enjoyed most of the characters ish. I thought the character designs were neat at least. but it just definitely felt out of place.
For me, it's another action fantasy isekai.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're looking at the isekai genre, there's just other things to watch that are better.
Fair.
Why? And we're going to say that about something else probably, but I just feel like if you're going to watch an isekai, just watch something different.
Mm-hmm.
You can get almost all of the elements from this show and something else that's probably done better.
Fair.
So for me, that's going to be in a D. There's so many.
Other
We
ones
say
you could
like
watch.
how many isekai
Yeah.
per preview of
Per
an anime
season,
season.
yeah.
So
It's a lot.
for me, I'm saying D.
Fair. We'll toss in D. Now moving on to one that shocked me
With its rating.
with its rating. I don't know why it's so low.
Yeah, I don't know either.
This one is one of my favorites we watched this year, and it's 91 Days, sitting at a low of 7.83 out of 10 with 342,123 users. It's action, drama, historical, suspense, 12 episodes with an OVA, making it 13 episodes. And man, what a great show.
Fantastic show. It does have some, obviously, classic tropes. It's a revenge story, and it follows
Mhm.
a lot of revenge story tropes. But there were a good amount of unexpected twists that
Definitely.
I was even shocked by. I would say it's an A.
I would agree with an A. It's a fun historical fiction. I would recommend this to someone who's getting
Absolutely.
into anime.
And it's only, like you said,
12
the whole
episodes.
story.
Yeah.
You can crank it out so fast. I remember we've had a couple shows that we've picked that we were watching. I remember messaging Matt maybe like 4 days before our recording and being like, are you done the anime? Because we're recording it. And he'd be like, yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And same goes for me. I'm
Yeah.
also guilty of it for some of the shows we watched. But man,
I
this
could
one,
not stop watching 91 Days.
we could have. I feel like I could have recorded this episode in the first week.
Yeah. It was
'Cause
so good.
I was just done so fast. I was like, it kind of leaves you wanting more, but also you're like, wow, that was great.
Yeah, I kind of wish we had more, but I'm also happy that we don't.
No, exactly.
Like, it's
for
a
sure.
weird, like, itch. I'm like, man, I would love to have more. But also, the story is so encompassing. It's good. It's start to finish. You have all of your answers. And from the unanswered questions, it's great.
I agree.
100% A1.
And I feel like I'm sure there's a lot, but we don't get as much of like that kind of like gangster. At least personally, I haven't seen a lot of like gangster
Yeah,
kind of
there's-
mobster.
Obviously, you've watched literally twice the amount of anime that I
And this
have.
isn't Yakuza based. This is like
America.
yeah, exactly. It's like America and more like gangs
Yeah, so
and-
it takes place during the Great Protect.
and mafia based
Yeah.
as opposed to the Japanese mafia and the Yakuza. Like
I would agree, yeah.
which is stuff that I have seen, but in America, like very different.
Whole different breed. Moving on. This one's fun. What a show.
Don't let the animals throw you off.
Don't let the animal story off. I'm not usually big into anthropomorphic shows. Outside
You
of
say
Beastars.
as you're like,
Freaking
oh,
love
I love
Beastars.
Beastars. Yeah.
But that's not like I'm not usually traditionally into that.
You don't like Zootopia?
I've never seen Zootopia.
Me neither.
Yeah, so the anime we're talking about is Odd Taxi, 8.65 out of 10 with 227,946 users. And I remember
More people need to see it.
More people need to see this anime. That's it. That's all you need to hear. This is great introductory anime. The animation style is great.
It's right up there with 91 Days.
Yeah.
Easy A of, like if you're new to anime or if you're not new to anime, like especially Odd
These-
Taxi is so good at being unpredictable as well.
It's the last episode.
Yeah, until the last, like it keeps you going.
Wait a second. That doesn't seem
Yeah.
right. This seems interesting. And it's funny because it's of all the anime we've watched, this one is probably the closest to 91 Days in the mystery suspense aspect of it.
Yeah, it kept you guessing, but also trying to figure stuff out as you're going with the character as
Yeah.
they're figuring stuff out.
Yeah, and it's an anime I could not stop watching.
It really had you drawn in, and from such an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Following
A
a
taxi
taxi driver,
driver.
and you never realize how much a taxi driver really might
Knows.
know or be involved with, even without actually being involved.
Yeah.
Great story, very
Definitely
great
A.
characters. Would 100% recommend. Like, just like 91 Days. The whole story's done.
Yeah.
Easy fly through.
Easy fly through. Moving on, we got Horimiya. 8.2 out of 10, sitting at 889,894 users. 13 episodes. Oh, by the way, Odd Taxi was 13 episodes as well.
Yeah.
We didn't mention
A
that.
quick one to finish.
Yeah. Horimiya is romance, school, and shonen. Not too much to say about it, really. I mean, it's a school anime. You got characters that all got different hair colors.
A school. It's a romance anime. What do you mean? It's probably one of the best romance animes I've seen.
Okay.
And I think that the main two characters are fantastic.
I would
Absolutely like bonkers incredible. I wish there was more of just following just the two of them.
agree.
The side characters do leave a bit personally for me to be desired, but they're not bad.
Yeah.
I would say for romance anime, this goes in A tier for recommendation. I think it's very digestible. It's not. It follows like some cliches, I guess you could say, with like people from different kind of backgrounds, if you will. Of
Yeah.
But there's so much like development and so much. I think the only thing that's the downside is the manga to anime adaptation is a little bit discombobulated, if you will, because there's a second season ish for Horimiya, but it's more just filling in the blanks of different trips that the friends all do
Yeah.
at different moments in time. I almost wish that those were like it was just a 24, 25 episode and had all that in chronological
Everything
order,
connected. Yeah.
and it was just all
Because
together.
you were saying that it was hard to, like, you watched season 2, right?
Yeah, and it's like the second episode, like you get used to the fact that they're just jumping all around. It just would have been nice to have them actually put in proper place as
Mm-hmm.
the anime story is going through.
That
So
makes
for
sense,
me,
yeah.
I would have preferred it as that 25 episodes and just have the proper story go through. But it's still great. I think if you're new to romance or you want to try a romance, this is a pretty good place because you don't even need season 2.
No, you don't.
That's just the extras that you're going to want.
Yeah.
Like
That's fair.
I don't know how to say it. You will want to see them.
I think for this, I think the only downside of this is the season 2, and like you almost have to find a list that's like
But you don't have
proper.
to.
What you don't have to if you don't want to.
I'm just saying you'll watch season 1, your heart will flutter, you'll have feelings, and you'll be like, I want more of those good feelings.
and you'll be like, oh, let's watch season 2. Put it in A.
I mean, what would stop you from putting it in B in terms of enjoyment,
That's what I mean.
recommendation?
Yeah, I think A is.
it's
good
also
spot for it.
pretty much a complete story. Like I said, season 2 you don't actually need,
Mhm.
and there is unfortunately no more Horimiya after that. So
Take it or leave it, kids. The next one in October, which felt like yesterday.
it really
For me.
does.
Mononoke, 8.42 out of 10 with 98,332 users. Historical, horror, mystery, supernatural. Also an anthology style series, which is something I have never seen before in anime. Outside of obviously Star Wars visions. But this one, the animation took a little bit for me to grow on. Like the animation was very
It was unique. It was unique. The art style was definitely different.
yeah.
Kind of had that like painting effect, which was cool. Definitely not your run of the mill anime.
Definitely weird.
Definitely weird. Matt's looking forward to the movie that's actually
Movie's out on Netflix right now, and they're actually doing a trilogy of movies.
Oh, okay.
So the one that's out on Netflix for us is the first, obviously, out of the 3.
So we do have more of it coming.
More of it coming. I'm debating about if we want to wait, or if I should watch it, or should we do it for an
we
anime
might
of
do
the
it
month?
again this month. Maybe we do them. I guess we should wait for all the films then.
Yeah.
I
I would put it. I don't think this is a good introductory anime. for the
I'm
record.
tempted to put. I actually think we should move Monogatari and Monogatari both to C. Not because they're bad, but just due to like the level of entry, if you
Fair.
will.
So we're gonna throw. Let's do that at the end.
Sure.
When we switch everything around. But Mononoke, you want to put in C, right?
Yes.
Mononoke in C, understandable. It's only 12 episodes. It's like 2 to 3 episode digestibles.
I feel like you do have to have some understanding of like Japanese folklore.
Yes.
Not that you need it, but even if you've seen like other anime that have
Inspiration, hints, etc. of Japanese folklore, for sure. I think also for me when watching this anime, the anime as a whole was great. I think there were certain like anthology arcs where I'm like, I kind of want this one to be over so I can get.
some of them were
one.
much better than others for sure.
But some of them were great.
Yeah, I just think if you've watched more anime, you're probably at least heard different folklore stories or heard about certain yokai. I mean, there's literally shown an anime about fighting yokai. And
Yokai Watch. It's kids anime.
So I just mean there's tons of yokai and tons of those stories, right? And I feel like especially if you're new to anime, like you're gonna be like, what is going on?
I mean, I was already asking me that for a couple episodes. I was like, I don't understand. And then like upon more research, you're like, oh, this makes all sense.
I also think it's a lot harder to appreciate a lot of the effects, the art style and the animation style, like the kind of like that painting s they're going for without having a few more shows under your belt, if you will.
Agreed.
And that's how I kind of feel about the Monogatari series that we mentioned earlier for Kizu Monogatari movies and the rest of that franchise as well. Is it's hard to appreciate some of the changes in style choices that Shaft makes if you haven't seen a lot of other shows. Not saying it has to be a ton, but you know, like after you've seen maybe 30 shows and of different genres, you can kind of see how shonen are done and how shoujo are done and how a general romance is done, etc. You kind of appreciate more when there is such a significant shift in style because I will say a lot of the more general anime kind of follow this like cookie cutter. Oh, we know that people don't hate this look, so we're going with this look.
Yeah.
When it comes to art style. And yeah, I just find that if you're not new to anime, definitely give this a shot. You might find something new that you really like and something different, a breath of fresh air, if you will.
Yeah.
But if you are just getting into it, it's a lot tougher to recommend.
I would agree with that. Now moving on to November's anime.
D.
Hamatora, the animation, sitting at 7.24 out of 10, 131,756 users. It's action, it's superpowers, it's 12 episodes.
Is it the lowest ranked thing we have?
No. Ashura.
Oh, yeah. Should probably be tied. For me, this follows the exact same kind of thinking, if you will, as Ashura, which is, are some of the concepts in this bad? No. I'd say some of the powers and the power system overall is interesting. The characters are okay. I wouldn't say they're great by any means.
I'm just going to say, just watch My Hero Academia.
And that's the thing. It's a shonen. It follows a lot of general shonen tropes. So why not just watch a better shonen?
This has been a PSA from the Nerdy Misfits.
Well, when did this come out? 2012? It came out.
It was an earlier.
And, maybe at the time for the seasonal, that was it was fine. It's kind of like watching a shonen right now. If we watch a general shonen that comes on and we're watching and we're like, you know what? Is I. But if you're new, just watch. Yeah, there's so many great shonen that are great. Demon Slayer. Like,
2014.
We're not here glazing Demon Slayer all the time.
No.
But in terms of if you want a very easy to follow along, well done in terms of animation, so it looks cool, gets your adrenaline going because it looks so awesome, and also an easy story to follow. You got Demon Slayer.
Just watch that.
You want superheroes. You got My Hero Academia, which is just better version, way better characters. Too many characters? Yes, we could argue that is an issue. Also, just a lot more of the show to watch, and it will be done this year.
Yeah, Hamatora I think only had 2 seasons, and it was done.
But there's more of the story, I'm pretty sure.
I'm assuming so. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have discussed some of these shows with Gray off podcast, where like he's seen a lot of them, and he'll message us on Discord and be like, "Hey, I watched the anime of the month. Yep, totally agree with your what you think about Ham, especially for this one. This was one that he reached out to me personally with a DM, and he's all like, "Yeah, I watched Hamtaro when it was coming out, and it was like okay. Like you're like, oh yeah, it's fine." But he's like totally agreeing with the idea of there are so many better things to watch.
Yeah.
There's just no
reason.
Unless you want to be different, I guess. Like you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't watch My Hero Academia. I've watched other stuff. Like,
I mean, that's
sure.
what intrigued me. I was like, okay, I'm curious how other superhero shows
Sure. Yeah,
hold
absolutely.
up, right? You know, that's the whole point of the anime of the month is to watch it so you don't have to.
Yeah, and I would say it wouldn't be high on my recommend to people list.
Not
If
because
you've
it's not
seen
hard to get
so
into,
many shonen, like you've
but-
seen hundreds, then sure,
Sure, just
give her a go.
give her a go and let us
But
know.
you've already seen it if you've seen that many. Like,
Now, finale of anime of the month 2024 episode came out like 2 weeks ago. You should check it out because we look pretty great in it. And that
We weren't there.
Yeah, true. We weren't there. What?
I'm pretty sure we had some special guests come in.
Special guests. So give that episode a watch.
If you haven't seen the video podcast and you listen on Spotify or just listen to the audio, you should definitely check out the video format,
Yes, you should. It's a
which
treat.
is out on both Spotify and YouTube.
That is true.
But yeah, Santa and the Grinch came
Crazy, man. Crazy
to,
episode.
to do
talk
the anime
about
along with
anime.
Troy and Eddie,
Yep.
who
Troy
stopped
and Eddie
by.
were there.
And we were happy to pick a Christmas movie this time around.
It'll be fun because I'm really curious what we're going to pick for December 2025.
Hopefully, a new Christmas movie.
Hopefully,
comes out.
something Christmassy comes out. This was Tokyo Godfathers, 8.28 out of 10, 153,743 users. Childcare, comedy, drama, a
Childcare is
single
such
movie.
a weird topic,
Yep.
like a genre choice. But I would say I'm content with putting it as a B. Part of me wants to almost push it up to an A because it's a movie. It actually is in terms of Christmas, like it's pretty good for
Yeah.
for fitting the themes.
Yeah.
I think also has a very unique cast.
Unique cast, interesting characters. I think B is a good spot for it. I wouldn't put it in A.
You want to recommend it to people? I would almost say it's better than a lot of really crappy Hallmark Christmas movies that come out all the time.
I think B is good. I think I'd recommend it for people that have watched a couple anime. I wouldn't throw this right to like someone right out of the gate.
Fair enough.
I think the characters are fun. I think the story is all over the place, but yet so linear.
Yep. No, it definitely is linear. It's just you get taken to places you don't expect during the film.
Exactly.
I do agree with Eddie where it does, like when you're really starting to get into it, it does feel like it just kind of ends.
Just hits a wall and you're like,
But at the same time, the story is complete.
yes.
Like looking back at it, I'm able to be like, you know what? Yes, maybe we shifted that climax a little further down the road. And it does feel a little bit more abrupt, but the story is still complete. you
Yeah.
know?
I would agree with that.
And we don't have too many movies to compare it to, and it's definitely a much more approachable film than the Monogatari
Yeah.
films. And it is a Christmas film that does in fact have a lot of Christmas
Christmas
like what you
elements
would
for sure.
say a Christmas spirit has.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd put a high B,
I'd put B.
especially if we're moving certain things around. I think this is a good spot for it.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we bring Kizu Monogatari down to C.
all right, let's toss that down to C.
I think we say as the most approachable, we probably say Bocchi the Rock because it's also short.
Yep.
And
Odd Taxi.
even though there's probably more to it that you from a seasonal perspective that could come out, the initial episodes cover enough story where you're not like, oh, I need more. I don't know.
Yeah,
what's
you're
gonna
not
happen."
like desperate for.
And that's the only
something.
reason I put it above Haikyuu in terms of what someone should go see.
Yeah.
And that's because Haikyuu, if you're in, you have to be in for the long. It's a longer show at this
You
point.
got to be committed. Yeah.
Because that's over. I don't even know what it would be.
It's like 4 seasons and a couple movies or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it'll end up being 2 movies. It's got
448. It's
so
like
the top
50,
1 and 2, and it's got
50 plus episodes.
Season 2 is all 25. Yeah, it's like
50 plus
8
episodes.
You're
plus
pushing,
2
if you count the
movies.
movies, as a few episodes, and you're pushing like 70 episodes. So it is longer, whereas you can watch a lot of Bocchi the Rocks in that amount of time.
So let's. I think everything else is good where it is.
I think I put Odd Taxi above 91 Days
Okay, so let's crank Odd
because
Taxi.
we'll do these in actual recommended
Okay.
order, I guess. I would say I put Odd Taxi above 91 Days.
Yep.
Then Horror Mia after 91
Yep.
Days. B.
Let's move.
I move Flying Witch over 1.
Yep.
And then I'll keep Heavenly Delusion in the middle of Tokyo Godfathers.
Yeah.
Reason being, I'm going to put an asterisk. If you're totally okay with watching the show and waiting for more to come eventually, or even jumping to the manga, then I would say, yeah. I would even move it up to an A if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a very unique story to follow.
Yeah.
Complex, also got some mystery elements to it. But it only having that 1 season and not really knowing when more is ever going to come, if ever, brings it down a lot for me. In C, I'd probably put Mononoke above Monogatari for the reason of Monogatari is another one that has a lot of episodes when you start diving into the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
It's also very unique. There's a lot of you better get really good at reading subtitles if you're diving into the Monogatari you're
Yes.
diving into that pool. You better be ready to read fast. That's all I gotta say. But it is fun. I do really enjoy the series. Matt's actually read some of the light novels as well.
I do want to read more this year. I thought they were really enjoyable. So
It's the only thing that's a shame is we speak English, and I know that in Japanese there's a lot more play on words through
Yeah.
the light novel with using of different kanji that have different meanings or etc. There's a lot of jokes through that as well,
yeah,
which we as native English speakers cannot
don't get
appreciate,
it. Yeah,
which is unfortunate. I wish we could, but not the case, and
Yeah.
we don't know Japanese yet. I'll leave the door open. I'm not going to say it's going to happen anytime soon, but I'm just saying, you never want to close doors.
exactly. And then the last 2 in D.
They're
I
just
think
tied. I
they're
wouldn't
tied.
recommend either.
Fair.
I just feel like we have 2 genres in just shonen and isekai that there's just so many better things to watch. If you want like more of a hardcore battle action fantasy, like you can watch
There's
so
other-
many things.
So many other things. Yeah.
Every season I'm sure there's a better show every season, honestly. Like
Yeah.
or of equivalent level where you're like, okay, well.
There it is.
And then for Hamtaro it's just
Yeah.
It's not that it's bad, it's just there's so much other stuff that's just better to watch.
So in conclusion, Connor, for our audio listeners, do you want to run through them all?
Sure. So in S we have 2, which is Bocchi the Rock and Haikyuu,
Season 1.
season 1, but the whole series. I can speak for the whole
Yeah.
series. In A tier we've got Odd Taxi, 91 Days, and Horimiya. In B tier we've got Flying Witch, Heavenly Delusion, and Tokyo Godfathers.
Yep.
In C tier we have
Mononoke.
Mononoke and the 3 films that make up the Kizumonogatari book
Mm-hmm.
in animation form, if you will. And then in D, we got Ashura and everyone's favorite, Hamtaro, the animation.
For the record, obviously, don't let this, if you want to check out any of these animes.
Yeah,
feel
go
free.
ahead
Don't-
and check
don't
them out. This
listen.
is just our opinion.
This is just our opinion.
This is completely subjective.
It's completely subjective. Not saying that these are 10 out of 10 animes.
And we also
Vice
just,
versa.
we did watch them.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is just our kind of
All encompassing.
quick, do we kind of recommend it? That's kind of what the tier list is. And at the end of the day, it's
Yeah,
how we would recommend these.
exactly.
Is how it's not based on necessarily ranking, because I know that we have I have the Kizumonogatari movies up pretty high compared to some of the stuff we've put higher.
Mm-hmm.
I will say we did a good job. We covered a good amount of genre, also different styles.
Yep.
And we also watched some stuff ranging from basically 9s all the way to 6.
Which I think is good. I'm super excited personally to see what animes we're gonna end up watching all of 2025. For those curious, we did continue it, and January anime of the month is Banana Fish.
Banana Fish, which is on Prime
Amazon
Video.
Prime Video.
For those in Canada, at least.
Exactly.
I feel like
So-
a lot of the Canadian one also carries over to the States, but I'm
For
on.
Prime, not for Netflix. Netflix is the one that's really different.
Oh, very different?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on Prime Video for us, we look forward to watching it and discussing it with you guys. If you want to be able to discuss it with us, we actually have a Discord where we discuss the anime of the month. It'll just be in the description down below in our link tree. You can join. Just hit the anime of the month watcher to get your, your
Invitation.
well, yeah, your
Your
your privileges to join and just
Exactly.
chat it up with us. We would love to hear your thoughts. Also, ask questions or recommend other series if
yes,
you
please do.
if some of your favorite series and you want to see us shit on it or glaze it up. Let us know.
Exactly.
Also, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah. Send us a comment if you think one of these is completely in the wrong spot. Should be higher, should be lower.
and let us know what we should watch for next year.
Exactly. But until then, happy January 2025, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will see you next Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. Don't forget to join the island by dropping a follow. Thank you, and see you next week.